So now that we got the groundwork for ways to improve the collaboration on these meetings, let's talk about some of the collaboration tools that are now available that can make the process way more efficient. Because if you want to collaborate remotely, we live in a fantastic age to do that. The technology available to us just makes this process so much easier. And by the way, it also documents the solutions for a future reference. So here, I'll just cover a few of the favorites that these are the ones that we use around my office, and I'm sure there's a gazillion others that I'm leaving out, but these are the ones that are kind of top on the list. The first one is Google Drive, or basically any type of cloud sharing service will probably work. But we tend to use Google Drive just because we've got a lot of employees and contractors that work for the Leaders Institute that have different platforms. So some are Apple people and some are PC people and some are not technical people at all, but everybody's got access to Google. And that's kind of why we use that particular service. I'm not sure if it's the best, but it's the one that we use, and that's why. But it allows a remote team to share and store documents. I mean, it does a lot more than that, but that's one of the main things that it does. So years ago, when my company was entirely virtual, one of the most frustrating problems was sharing and storing documents. So I'll give you a couple of examples. We teach hundreds of classes every year. So our brochures have to be updated every month or two just to make sure that the schedule is up to date. And our sales team also needs to know what instructors that we have that are available, which ones are scheduled for classes already, which ones are free. So if we get a new contract or if they're putting out a proposal, they need to kind of know what instructors are available. So in the past, we basically just we used to send the brochure out via email to the entire team every time we updated it, which was, about once a month or so. And then in addition to that, every Monday we'd send out a calendar. It was just an email that had a list of all of the different scheduled events that we had from here to the future. And we'd send that out every Monday. And the process worked pretty well. That is, except when someone happened to miss an email, or if two salespeople decided to book the same quote unquote open instructor for two different classes on the same day. If we're only getting those updates once a week, things are going to get missed. And so it created some pretty significant challenges for the company. Well, Google Drive fixed all that because the brochures now are shared documents. So if we change a date on the schedule, if we have to change a class date for one reason or another, or if we have to cancel a class or whatever it is, we just update that on the shared document that's in the Google Drive, and the entire team has instant access to it. They don't have they don't have to go back and search through tons of emails that they've had in the last, 6 weeks looking for that one that has the most current brochure on it. The calendars are also shared in the cloud as well. So at any given moment, a team member can look to see what other team members are available on any given day. So it's really one of those things that has helped just immensely help us become more organized in a very powerful way. The second tool that we use a lot is Zoom. In fact, I'm using Zoom right now to record the audio and video for this for this broadcast. There's just so many uses for Zoom, and it really improves communication during that team collaboration. Many of you have likely had a crash course in Zoom meetings over the past few months. And in fact, many of you are probably wishing that you would never, ever have to attend another Zoom meeting ever by now. And if you are, make sure that you focus on some of the earlier tips that we talked about. But if you're like me and you cut your teeth in the age of conference calls, then you realize how big a breakthrough that visual meetings are. So much of the communication process takes place with the eyes. You can watch the facial expressions and the movement of the person. Each of these things helps reduce miscommunication, and as a result, it makes your Zoom meetings become more interactive. You can increase communication very, very effectively. So it's a big breakthrough. We've done a couple of sessions. If you want to get more information about ways that you can use Zoom, make sure and go to the Fearless Presentations podcast. Just open up iTunes, whatever to use for your podcast. Type it in Fearless Presentations in the search bar, and it'll give you some details about some things that we're using Zoom for right now. The next tool that has kind of changed the way that we do business is Slack. So Slack eliminates internal email and chats, and it documents your team activity. And I gotta say, this is one of the best remote collaboration tools of all time. We absolutely love this tool. In the past, if I were emailing back and forth with a team member, the team member and I were the only ones who could see that conversation. So I'd find myself sending group emails, and then one person with a question hits reply all, and then it bogs down the email, or sometimes what happens is we get into a discussion and something that's important, because folks aren't going to read through 6 reply all emails. They may miss something that's important. And the worst is like the group chats. If you've ever been added to a group chat that keeps going on and on and on and doesn't really concern you at all, it can be really annoying. But Slack fixes a lot of this. So Slack it's like a combination email service and chat service. And the discussions, though, are divided into what they call channels based on topic. For example, the marketing department might have a few different channels. One channel might be new social media projects that they're working on. Another channel might be current marketing brochures. A final channel might be internal communication between the marketing team members about their internal marketing projects. So if a salesperson within your team wants to see what social media posts are going to be released this week, then she could just go to that channel. She doesn't have to email anyone. She doesn't have to call anyone. She doesn't have to search through endless numbers of emails trying to figure out what would that person put into the subject line if they were talking about the social media stuff. And it just makes it so much easier. It's so much more efficient, and it's easy. We also, the cool thing about one of the other cool things about Slack is that it also allows you to link other remote collaboration tools like Google Drive and Zoom that we talked about before, with Slack. So when marketing updates a brochure, they just they put that updated brochure on Google Drive using the same link that was there before. So they just update the same link that was there before, but then they post that link into the brochure channel, so that if somebody doesn't actually have that link, or if they're new to the company, they have access to it right away, and they know that it's been updated and when it's been updated and why it's been updated and all that kind of stuff. So really cool things. So I would encourage you to not only, experiment with those collaboration tools, but there's so many things out there now that makes our job so much easier, that look for tools that will help you get better results when you are collaborating remotely with your team.